Hi, this is Mark Stowers, the host of the radio show called I Made It, and today I have with me Danny Champ Calafell. Danny, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
I am wonderful. I know that you're down in Miami, right?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Today I am.
Today, huh? Danny, you've got a very interesting story, and I'd really like to share with the listeners. But first of all, let me ask, where are you at right now in your career and, your situation?
Okay. By where I am, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, I know that you are involved with a marketing company, right?
It's one of the things we do, yes.
Okay. So maybe describe a little bit about what the company is and what's your portion of that you do.
Okay. So what I have is a business consulting and marketing firm where we work with small to medium-sized businesses. We deal primarily with companies doing about $1 million and up in revenue. Not necessarily have to do business with companies at that level. I mean, we could do a little lower than that, depending on, their requirements and what it is that they need. We deal with individuals as well. But, yes, primarily it's small to medium-sized businesses. We focus on businesses globally. We're open to all different types of industries. There's two parts. I'm glad you mentioned the marketing. We also, so on business consulting, it's strategy management consulting. We have a sales academy where we teach large, small teams, and even individuals on how to sell and close deals. We do that both live in person and online. The online platform is the #1 training platform in the world, and the live in person is one of the top training programs in the country. For marketing, we do that both digitally and traditionally. We have one of the top teams in the country as well. Software, we also offer that. That's development, integration, and customization of CRMs, mobile apps, platforms, and websites. So it's pretty much full circle in regards to taking businesses from where they are and taking them to the next level. Wherever they are, we take them up a notch.
Now, you had mentioned before that you had worked not only with companies around $1 million, but you've also worked with billion-dollar companies too, right?
Yes. Yeah. We actually have the VP. So I deal with $100 million companies on down. The VP of the company, he deals with multi-billion-dollar companies, Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies.
Okay. What's the name of the company?
Name of the company is TRIWORLD.
Okay. And you guys are out of Miami, right?
Yep, we're based out of Miami.
Okay. So, Danny, I know you shared your story with me a little bit. I'd love you to share the story with the listeners. Can we talk a little bit about how you got to where you're at?
Sure. How far back do you want to go?
Well, I know that you were into boxing. So, just kind of share your story about the boxing stuff and how you made that turn into this, into this marketing sales business.
Yes. Okay, so basically I came up differently than you would say some fighters that get into the sport. And what I mean by that is boxing pretty much, I got into it because I pretty much had to. I had no choice, rather than me taking it on as a passion and wanting to do it to have some sort of an end goal of becoming a champion of some sort. It really started out by me not having a choice, and what I mean by that is I was such a troubled kid. I grew up, broken home, and found myself in the streets at 14, no direction, hanging out with the wrong crowd, drugs, in and out of trouble, in and out of trouble more times, I could say, than I was in public schools.
Okay.
And, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You know, I mean, just so much going on there. It was the only direction I was going is one of two places. I was either going to end up dead or in jail for the rest of my life. So, you know, my family didn't know what to do with me. They were, you know, they just were, you know, mom wasn't around much. Father wasn't around much. He was working a lot. And, you know, they just were at a loss of words. They didn't know what to do. So my father used to box in the Army, and he was always telling me about joining a boxing gym. And I ended up coming up to him one day, you know, after I got out. You know, I did about when I was younger, I did a little bit of time, and I went up to him and I told him, I said, look, you know, let's see what all this is about, if what you've been trying to get me involved in. I went to the boxing gym, and from the moment I walked in the gym, fell in love with the sport. I was like, this is good. And from that point on, no drinking, no smoking, no drugs. You know, just every day in the gym, getting beat up every day in the beginning, but every day in the gym, you know, taking a whooping. And you know, and that's it, you know. From that point, what did you want to ask me?
Well, did you meet somebody in there that kind of helped you and mentored you through it, or did you kind of persevere on your own, or what?
It was pretty much on my own. I mean, I was around. I mean, you know, I did meet, you know, I did meet a few people. You know, the owner of the gym I'm still friends with to this day. She actually opened up the gym with the trainer of Muhammad Ali, Angelo Dundee.
Wow.
And, you know, before he passed and before Ali passed, they did a few birthday parties there and everything. It's pretty famous on the beach. And I went over there, and, you know, me and her clicked, and you know, it was very, very, very nice, very, very, very good environment. And I just met a lot of people, a lot of professional fighters. And then from that point on, it just started, you know, I would just take it up a notch. You know, eventually I left that gym and I went to another gym. And then in that gym, I was around nothing but elite pros. And I knew that was the direction that I wanted to go in. So, you know, when I turned pro, then you know, I was around nothing but throughout, I would say, for the 18 years that I was fighting, I was around, majority of my career, I was around nothing but world champions. 3-time world champions, 2-time world champions, Hall of Famers. You know, I mean, I'd be going to the gym, and these guys are getting ready to fight on HBO, Showtime, you know, pay-per-view, all that.
Sure. What was your record?
Not a very good one.
Oh.
I had the problem. Here was the thing. The problem with me was I didn't have good management. I didn't have good sense of direction. I was just a tough guy that got a lot of respect from people, which got me to meeting my manager up until I finished, which was last year, who is like my, you could say he's family. He's like my brother, Nate Campbell. He's a former 3-time world champion. When I went in the ring, I remember I went in that gym with an old manager of mine who robbed me, and we're not even going to go there. Walked in the gym. He recognized me from when I fought on ESPN. And Nate was sparring at the time, and he told me, he said, wait, he said, I know you from somewhere. He was like, wait till I finish. We're going to sit down and we'll talk. 4 hours we sat down and we had a conversation. First time meeting him. 4 hours we sat down, we had a conversation. And he told me, he said, all right, I'm getting ready for this fight. While I'm training here, I want you here with me. He's like, whatever it takes for you to get up here, I know your manager's bringing you here. You tell him that I'm going to cover everything. I want you coming in here. I want you coming in here, and I want you working with us. And from that point, our relationship just took off from there.
Great.
And it was, you know, my manager at the time, I mean, he was stealing from me and everything and trying to always, you know, cut corners. And all of that. He didn't like the idea because he saw the direction that I was going in with Nate. So he didn't want me to go in that direction. He wanted me to go in the direction where, you know, he could have made more money off of me and whatnot. So that was the situation with that. You know, I took some time off and, you know, had a lot of personal issues I was dealing with. And that shortened the time that I was active in my boxing career. So the reason why I hung up the gloves is because and stopped is because I realized that, you know, I mean, the way to go in where I am today in business is much more, I would say, not only profitable, but, you know, that's the future. You know, I can't fight forever. So I know I'm fast forwarding a little bit, but I'm just trying to trying to connect the dots here so you have a good understanding and everybody has a good understanding of, you know, my career was cut short because I didn't have the right people behind me, which we'll get in later. But I didn't have the right people behind me. I didn't have the right sense of direction. I had great connections. I had great people that I met throughout my career, but they didn't have the time to be able to harness the talent that I had and the work ethic that I had. So therefore, my career was cut short, and I didn't get the opportunity like a lot of other fighters get to have when they have the right people behind them to become, you know, as big as everybody knows that I could have been. I mean, keep in mind for a minute that when I'm talking about I'm going in gyms and I'm working with guys that I'm talking about they closed the gym down. So it's not open to the public. It's not open to amateur fighters. The only fighters that are in there are the ones who are training for fights coming up. And I'm in there with guys that are current world champions, that are former world champions, that are fighting for the number one spot in the world. That already speaks volume of what they thought of me, because they wouldn't have allowed me in there had they not thought that, you know, I had the potential of becoming something big. You follow what I'm saying?
No, I understand that. And I'm not. I know it's. I don't want to be sent. I want to be careful. I don't want to. You know, if you feel it's not appropriate, let me know. But I'm interested. I'm interested. You know, you're at an elite level now. You're you're hobnobbing with the big boys. How did you make the decision to kind of stop and then shift gears? I mean, was it a difficult decision? Was it a simple decision? Did something pop up for you? What happened?
It was a very difficult. I'm gonna tell you. This is a decision that I made recently. You know.
Yep.
And it was a very difficult decision because, again, boxing saved my life. So it's more personal than anything else. It's not like a passion that I just picked up and I was like, hey, yeah, I want to do this. Because, no, this was a sport that completely changed my entire life. Uh-huh. It put me in It put me in contact with people that I don't feel I would have been able to even approach had it not been for the sport. It put me in contact with people, and it showed the type of person. It amplified everything that I'm doing now. You know, with my passion and with my hard work ethic and everything. I've always been a hard worker. I've never been a quitter. So. You know, it just amplified that. So, I mean, for me to just cut it, it's like a piece of my life fell off. You feel?
No,
you get what I'm saying?
I understand. Yeah, I had the same thing happen to me. My question is, you know, I took 3 to 6 months to really make the decision, and you know, it's still sometimes you sit back and you go, well, was it the right decision to make, or you know what I mean? But, you know, I mean, if you're finding success, I would assume now you feel you're finding success with the business that you're in now, right?
100%.
Okay. So you feel you made the right decision to move from one to the other.
Well, I was always working on this. Let me tell you, back in 2010, actually 2009, I had I had made a friend, and we met at an event. I've always been big in the music industry. I've always had a passion for music. When I was younger, I played 5 instruments by ear before I even learned how to read music. So music has always been, a very passionate part of my life as well.
Okay.
And I wanted to do something in the music industry. So I ran into somebody at a music festival, and I can't, again, boxing has opened up a lot of doors. So let's rewind a little bit. When I was 17, 18, in between, I was doing club promotions at the same time as I was training in the gym.
Okay.
So doing the club promotions, we would book artists. We'd book all the big artists that you hear on the radio that are touring and stuff like that. And I was the guy that I didn't want to talk to the manager. I wanted to talk to the artist.
Sure.
So I would go around the manager at the club or the venue or wherever we were booking the artist, and I start hanging out with the artist. Hey man, listen, I'm not in the music industry. I'm not trying to hound you for that, but I want to connect with each other. I want to see, if you'd be interested in doing a sponsorship, if you'd be interested in doing something with me. I'm getting ready to turn pro and so forth. So I'd exchange information. So I had a list of celebrity contacts, and I was just doing that over and over. And they had a lot of respect for me because they liked the sport. They love boxing. So
sure.
they would always, yeah, no problem. Yeah, keep in contact with me. I'm going to go out of town, but keep in contact with me, and maybe when I get back in town we could connect, or whenever you're out of town. And I was all for that. So I started meeting a ton of people. So fast forward back to the event that I was mentioning. So I'm at the event, meet a guy there, we connect, and he was working on some stuff, and I decided to start a record company.
Wow.
So started a record company, and I didn't know. I knew music. I knew business from the people that I was around. Because the celebrities, I would also surround myself around business-minded people. So I started learning. I started learning the fundamentals of business. Started being around the right people in that space. So I started having a good understanding of what the right way to do things is, not the way that takes you where you just end up being passionate about it and nothing ends up happening. So I had a pretty good thing going down here in South Florida. We would do contests. We had record contracts that we'd have competitions. So we'd have people audition, then they would do it was like an American Idol, but not televised. Actually, we were working on something on TV, matter of fact. And we'd have people audition. We did the competition. We were doing like $450,000 recording contract for the winner, and $200,000 recording contract for runner-up and so forth. I started establishing a lot of connections with all the big labels and whether it be Interscope and Universal and all that. And I started getting in with people that work for the company, people higher up, people lower down. I was just all out there and really doing it, making a lot of different connections, more connections with more celebrities in the industry and so forth. And it took a turn because I realized that the partner that I ended up having, we ended up losing a lot more than we were putting in to the business. Because I wasn't out there doing the music. I was behind the scenes working the business. And I was like, okay, we're putting out all this and we're doing all this stuff, but nothing's coming in return. Some of the artists don't want to listen. They don't want to follow directions. So that shifted. I started surrounding myself around people more in corporate business.
Okay.
And that changed my whole perspective of business. My whole perspective, completely. It was just a complete shift. I saw the way they did things. I saw the way they maneuvered. And I would just go up to them. I'd just be like, hey, listen, I want to be your friend. Just like that. We'd be hanging out. Listen, I'm that guy. Even today, I'm that guy. You're sitting at a table with somebody. You're having a conversation. I overhear something. I flip my chair around and I say, hey, how are you? My name's Danny. How you doing?
Uh-huh.
I overheard your conversation. Listen, I happen to do this, I happen to do that. Where are you guys from? What do you do? I'm that guy. So I did the same thing before, but it was just different. Instead of coming up to them and asking that, I'd just be like, hey, listen, I see what you're doing in business. I want to learn from you. I just want to be your friend. I just want to talk to you once a week.
And did you find people that were willing to teach you?
Of course.
Good. Now, were these...
They found me to be a likable person. They loved the fact that I was a fighter. So, that brought up conversation. Then I told them about the whole music thing and everything. So, it would always, I found myself able to maneuver and get, in tune of a conversation starter. And then it just ended up creating relationships. And then I started establishing from there. And like I said, that shifted my whole mentality the moment that happened. I mean, it was just a shift.
That's great. Now, it sounds to me like you're not afraid to go up and talk to people. You learned that through the boxing stuff, right? And you were pretty aggressive in terms of meeting those people. So you've got a lot of things that as you grew up and as you got older, you started honing those skills, right?
Right.
And so you got the record company, I would assume, probably failed, right?
It's not that it failed. I just took the pedal off of it.
Okay.
I took the pedal off of it because it didn't fail. I mean, it was just something that I didn't want to pursue anymore because I realized that there was a lot bigger and better of an opportunity more in the corporate world than there. And then not to mention, I also want to mention this. So my father was a very big influence on me. He's the VP of the company.
Oh.
So he was a very big influence on me in terms of when he saw the direction I was going, he sat me down and he started having conversations. I mean, we're talking about a guy who was director, VP of companies like, we're talking huge companies.
Sure.
Huge global companies. And, he had 100 employees under him and I mean, we're talking massive. And, he sat me down and when I started seeing that he started really wanting to get behind what it was that I was doing, I knew that I was in the right direction.
Good.
I knew I was in the right direction because he wouldn't have, he's a very reserved man and and this is what I respect about him. He separates the father-son relationship when it comes to business. Completely separates it.
Uh-huh.
Well, we're talking business. If you were to sit in a room with us, we're talking business, you wouldn't even know it. You wouldn't even know that we were related.
Uh-huh. Because
it's straight business. But then afterwards, it's, hey, yeah, So, I mean, so going back to what I was saying, when I saw that he started honing into what it was, I was like, okay, I'm onto something now. I'm really onto something. And then that's when I started the company TRIWORLD, and that was in 2012. That's when I started the company TRIWORLD.
Okay.
And originally I wanted to gear it towards a diverse area of things. I didn't know what it was, what I had. I didn't realize what was really going on. I just knew that I wanted to be diversified. I didn't want to stay small, and I didn't want to stay in one area. I wanted it to be diversified. I just didn't know until later on what it would turn into and what it is becoming now.
Uh-huh. So I would assume now you're doing a little bit of traveling then too, huh?
Yeah.
What, and did you find that diversification, I mean, one of the interesting things I find, Danny, is that everybody thinks their business is unique, but it's really not that unique. the product might be unique, but all the other issues around it aren't. Do you find that too?
100%. 100%. So a structure of a business is pretty much like, the best way I could describe it is this. You take a car. The frame of the car, if you look at automobiles, all the frames are the same. They might look different, but the frame is the same. You have the chassis, you have the axles, you have the four wheels, you have the rim around the four wheels, you have the steering wheel, you have the brake pedal, you have the gas pedal, the shifter is in the same place. I mean, it's all pretty much the same.
Uh-huh.
What makes it unique is the look of it, the feel of it, the color, things like that. Yeah. So when it comes to a business, it's the same thing. The structure of the business all has to be the same.
Uh-huh.
But it's what you're selling, who you're selling to, how much you're selling for. So that's what makes it unique. What is it that you offer that is different from other people?
Do you spend time then going and digging that out from these people? Is it difficult for them to figure it out?
Well, that's one of the things we do. I mean, that comes with the consulting aspect of things. We're basically like the architect. We have to design the blueprint, or we have to figure out the blueprint of the company itself. So yeah, we have to, as a consultant, I have to dig that up. I have to approach the business and say, okay, what is it you're doing? What is it you're not doing? What is it you can be doing?
Sure. Now, do you find that the businesses have a pretty good understanding of who their customer is?
Some do, some don't.
Okay.
Some do, some don't.
Yeah.
You have some businesses that, we come across and, we've been doing this for 30 years. Okay, that's great. That's great. You've been doing it for 30 years. Let me tell you, Sears was doing it for many years too. Toys R Us was doing it for many years too. Sports Authority was doing it for many years too. And Payless has been doing it for many years too.
Right.
And where are all of them?
Yeah.
Where are all of them? And why? Because they think the same way. Experience is not like people think. I have people come into the office, for interviews and so forth. And when I interview, I like interviewing. I love interviewing because I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want. I know where I want to go, and I know who is going to be able to take the company there and who is going to grow with the company. So I don't waste. It's not a sense of me putting myself on a pedestal and thinking I made it, and I'm nowhere near where my potential is, and I'm nowhere near where I know where I'm going to be. Nowhere. So for some people that know me, they're like, "Oh man, you're doing fantastic," but not enough for me. It's not enough for me.
Sure.
So where I'm going with this is, I'll talk to some people, and the first thing out of their mouth, I have a lot of experience, and I'm like, okay, your experience has led you to sit and have a conversation with me looking for a job. That's where your experience has led you.
Yeah.
So experience, what a lot of people don't understand, experience is only as simple as the amount of time that you've been doing something. Doesn't mean you've been doing amazing at it, and it doesn't mean you've been doing terrible at it. It just means the amount of time you've been doing something. That's what experience is.
Yep. No, you're right. You're right.
So people twist the word and say, I have 30 years experience. Okay, great. Doing what? Failing or winning? Because I'm going to tell you this. Uber, in 5 years, they were a multi-billion-dollar company. You have some companies that are 25 years old, and they haven't even broke $5 million yet.
Yeah. And so how do you motivate those companies to step it up?
People have to see the potential. A lot of times people compare themselves to others.
So do you compare them to others, or do they
No. Every business is unique. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna circle back to boxing now.
Sure.
When I got in the gym, I would eye one of the fighters that day. And I knew that they were more experienced than me, better than me. They had more experience, which they knew more tricks. They knew more things. They knew how to breathe, how to breathe to carry themselves longer rounds. And it's all a mental thing. So they knew how to do all of that. I watched them. And you know what I did?
Imitated.
Not only that, I learned from them, and I wouldn't stop. I remember one day I got so tired. My trainer told me, "You're crazy," because I fell on my knees. I was completely done. That's the type of person that I've been.
Yeah. Yeah.
I go, and I go, and I go, and I go. So when it comes to a business, when a business is comparing themselves to somebody else, you're already Xing yourself out. You don't even know it. You're Xing yourself out.
Yeah.
You X yourself out because now you're saying, "Oh, I'm similar to this company." Why are you even putting yourself in a category of that?
And these are discussions you have with the CEO or the guy in charge?
Of course. Oh, I talk to them just like that.
Good. Honesty is always good.
Here's the thing. I know what I know from the experience of others that I've had conversations with, others that are mentors to me, others that are advisors to me. So I'm always asking questions. I'm always learning. And I take the advice and I apply that not only to myself, but I convey that to the people that I meet with. If I'm sitting down with an owner and I know the owner's doing something wrong and I'm just trying to get a deal done, what good am I doing that customer? I'm not doing him any good. He doesn't need that. He needs somebody to come in and say, "Listen, you're doing this wrong. I know you want to hear that you're doing it right, but you're not."
Yep.
And if you want to hear that, then maybe you need to go to another company and you need to deal with them.
Well, I used to be a consultant too, and the consultants were always the ones that consultants were always the one that they would listen to, but somebody in the organization was already saying it. You find that true?
Sometimes, yes. Here's another problem, though.
Yep.
A lot of business owners, they don't pay attention to what it is that their employees say because they feel that what does this guy know? Because if he knew so much, he wouldn't be working for me. But that's not the case. That's not the case. You gotta listen. You gotta listen to what makes sense, not what level they're at. You gotta listen to what makes sense. Sometimes people have good ideas.
Yeah.
They might not necessarily be at an elite level, and it's not necessarily advice that they're giving you, but maybe a piece of the advice is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wondered because, like I said, I used to be a consultant, and I'd interview the employees, and then I'd evaluate their thoughts, and if they had a good idea, then I'd share it with the owner, and the employee was upset because it was the same idea, it just came from somebody outside instead of somebody from the inside.
Well, because they're more respected. That goes without, that's just what it is. I feel that, that's another thing that, like we talked about our last conversation. I told you I'm getting into public speaking. I'm starting to do that now, and I'm wanting to talk to business owners. I'm wanting to talk to salespeople, individual salespeople, teams of salespeople. Yeah, we do that already through the Sales Academy, but I'm talking about me personally. I want to go out there. I want to talk to these guys. I want to, and
it's because you want to get better at personal or at public speaking, or you just want to learn more stuff.
No, it's because I just want to spread the word of what I know and how many people I can touch doing that.
Okay.
You know, it's just I feel that I have knowledge, and knowledge, as we know, knowledge is power, and I just feel that there's a lot of things that the average person doesn't know. You know, some people a lot of people they get in sales because it's something they have to do.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily mean they're good at it. But wouldn't it be nice if you could take it up a notch and you could start really making some money? Because I mean, let's be realistic here. Salespeople are the highest paid people in the world.
Yep, they are.
Career-wise, they make more money than doctors, lawyers. Let me tell you something. I met a sales guy a few months back. He makes $1 million a month.
A month?
A month.
Holy crap.
In sales.
That's a great person to know, wouldn't it be? Learn all the stuff from him?
In sales. Well, no, I'm trying to learn from the guys who are doing $100 million a year, $500 million a year, $1 billion a year.
Yeah.
Even more than that. That's who I try to learn from. But there's stages. And now, it just goes to say, you know.
Yeah. Did you make contact with some of these guys and been able to sit down and discuss stuff with them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I told you I'm very personal. I'm very personable. I'll just walk up and just start the conversation. That's just the type of person I am. I you know, but that is, again, that's something that I really want to start talking to people about, you know, the importance of, you know, getting your head right. You know, a lot of people they don't know what they want to do, where they want to go, where they want to end up. People come across money. You know, I was talking with Nate the other day. I was telling him, listen, I want to start talking to different athletes also. You know, you have a lot of these guys, they come across a lot of money before they know it, and their career's done, so is their money.
Yep. Yeah, I know some of those kind of guys.
Well, that's what happens. And why? Because they made the wrong decisions.
Yeah. Now,
they made the wrong decisions.
Couple of questions. Now, these guys that are making, you know, hundreds of thousands or hundreds of millions of dollars, even $1 billion, have you sat down and talked with them, and is there one thing is there something you've learned from those kind of people?
I learn something all the time. I mean, it's just the way that they think, you know, the way that they look at things.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're not so much concerned with. They're not so. How could I explain this? They're not so much concerned with minor stuff, but larger things.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. They want to focus on doing things massively. They're very careful in decisions that they make. You know, I'm starting to do a reevaluation of the people that I have in my circle once again, and it's only for the reason of I want to make sure that I'm in line with the direction that I'm going in and the direction I'm going in and the end point and where I want to end up at. Just like the people that you just asked me a question about.
Okay.
And I need to make sure that the people in my circle and that I'm surrounded with have that same end goal, because if they don't, it's a problem.
Yep. No, that's really an interesting point, Danny. That's really an interesting point. You know, because the story is that, you know, the 5 closest friends of yours are your income is similar to the 5 closest friends that you have. And if you're stepping it up from, you know, $1 million a month guy to, you know, $1 billion a year guy, you know, there's a whole philosophy change that you're going to end up running into too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then you have some other people, you know, they'll approach the situation and say, "Oh, you're fascinated by money and that's all your focus is. And I don't only hear them tell me that, but I hear them say that about other people. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, but you're the same one who complains that you can't afford to go where you want to go. You can't afford to buy what you want to buy. You can't afford to, if there's ever a problem, God forbid, with your family or something like that, you can't afford to pay to have that fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is a money thing. It's just eliminating that out of the problem and being able to focus on other things that are more important in life.
Yeah. So, Danny, can you give me I'm going to split this up a little bit. Can you give me a nugget of wisdom that you learned while you were boxing, and then maybe a nugget of wisdom you have learned overall? I mean, if you have something.
Okay, I could say this for boxing and for everything that I've learned. That saying about it's not what you know, it's who you know, it's a little twisted around. And if I can untwist it, I'm gonna do that. It's not what you know. It's not where it's not what you know. It's who you know. Like people think, where it's, oh, if I know this person, I'm gonna make it. And no. It's not what you know. It's who you know. In terms of when you surround yourself around the right people, going in the right direction, you'll find yourself going in that same direction. When you surround yourself just strictly around people that you like and that you enjoy, and you're sticking to only what you know, you're not growing. You're not growing. And as far as I'm concerned, and this is my philosophy. As far as I'm concerned, if you're not growing, you're falling. There is no in between. There is no stagnance.
Yep.
You're either growing or you're falling. And that's anything in life, whatever it is somebody's doing. You're either growing or you're falling. You're only going up or you're going down. You can't look at something in the air and it's just going to sit there in the middle. Balloons go up and then they go down. Birds, they can only fly up in the air for so long. And even then, they have to move. They can't stop moving. It's not like they can just sit there. Even a drone, you take a drone, the drone, it runs out of battery eventually. It can't stay still.
Yep. So, Danny, we've got about a minute left. Let's talk about your company, if we could.
Okay.
So, again, what do you do, and, where's it located, and how do people get a hold of you?
Sure. They could go on online. They look us up online, look me up online. They can follow me on Instagram at IMD Champ. That's I am the letter D Champ, and that's on Instagram. They can go on Facebook and find me. The website is TRIWORLDINC.com. They can call the office 305-501-0139. That's 305-501-0139. And again, they could just go online and take a look at everything that we do, how we can help, how I can help. Like I mentioned, I'm very passionate about really wanting to take businesses where I know that they can end up being and having people's dreams come true, helping them get there. When somebody's an entrepreneur and they first start off, they have a dream, they have an idea, they have something they want to create that they feel that is going to blow up. And I just like the idea and the fact that every day I'm able to come across a different type of business, a different type of idea, and help manifest that into something, that they had originally envisioned or bigger than what they originally envisioned.
Okay. Well, Danny, thank you very much for your time, and appreciate it. This is Mark Stowers, the host of a radio show called I Made It. Talk to you later.